Here's a plot twist most people never saw coming. A $550 million lawsuit, a $400 million countersuit, harassment allegations, a smear campaign, a trial date circled on every entertainment reporter's calendar for over a year. And then, days before it was finally set to happen, it just didn't. No verdict, no jury, no dramatic courtroom showdown for either side to wave around as vindication. Just a settlement, a fee dispute, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. This is the real ending to the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni saga. And to understand how we got here, we need to rewind. Blake Lively, Mrs. Ryan Reynolds. If you ask half the internet, few stars start out with as many advantages stacked in their favor as Blake Lively did. Striking looks, a breakout television role, and a famous husband with serious industry pull. Blake Lively and her husband Ryan Reynolds were once considered one of Hollywood's most bulletproof couples. Whether that reputation held up is really what this story is about. Good-looking, successful, endlessly quotable, they built an entire brand on being the couple who felt like your friends rather than distant celebrities, trading not-so-spontaneous banter online and looking effortlessly put together at every red carpet. But underneath the curated Instagram captions and the brand partnerships, cracks were already forming. Cracks that would eventually split wide open into one of the messiest Hollywood legal sagas in recent memory, complete with lawsuits, collapsed business ventures, dueling accusations, and some genuinely baffling marketing decisions.
New information is coming in based on a post by Ryan Reynolds that has a lot of people talking, including insiders who are saying, yeah, there are some problems in Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively's marriages.
The woman who would become Blake Lively was born Blake Ellender Brown in Los Angeles in 1987, one of two children born to Elaine and Ernie Lively. Both her parents worked in the industry, so a career in front of the camera always felt less like a dream and more like a foregone conclusion. Her first credited role came in 1998, a small part in the film Sandman, directed by her own father. It wasn't until 2005 that Lively landed her first real breakout, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. The film did well enough to get her noticed, leading to smaller roles in comedies like Accepted and horror films like Simon Says. Then, in 2007, came the role that would define her early career. Gossip Girl, a CW drama built around wealthy, good-looking teenagers tangled up in scandal, betrayal, and, fittingly enough, plenty of steamy drama. Not exactly groundbreaking television, but it worked. The show ran for 6 seasons before wrapping in 2012. It was on the set of the critically panned Green Lantern in 2010 that Lively met Ryan Reynolds, who was still married to Scarlett Johansson at the time. The two reportedly hit it off immediately, and by 2012, Reynolds had finalized his divorce and married Lively at a former slave plantation, a location choice that drew criticism for years afterward. Historical missteps aside, the newly married couple quickly became one of the most talked-about pairings in celebrity circles. Funny, self-aware, quick to trade playful jabs online, they seemed like the rare Hollywood couple who didn't take themselves too seriously. Looking back, some online commentators on Reddit and TikTok have since argued the whole dynamic always felt a little too rehearsed, a little too performative to be entirely genuine. But at the time, audiences ate it up, and for years, Reynolds and Lively's carefully managed public image kept paying off. Still, there was a growing gap between their two careers. While 2016's Deadpool catapulted Reynolds into true A-list territory, Lively remained stuck in a string of forgettable dramas and mid-tier romantic comedies. Films like Café Society and Hick came and went without making much of a dent. She kept working, yet a genuine breakout was still missing, the kind of role that would push her from reliable supporting player to genuine headliner. In 2023, that opportunity appeared to arrive when she signed on to star in Justin Baldoni's romantic drama, It Ends With Us. She was reportedly a few years older than the character as originally written, and the script underwent revisions to accommodate her creative input and wardrobe requests. though neither detail seemed to slow the momentum heading into production. This was supposed to be Lively's moment, the film that would finally cement her as a leading lady in her own right. Instead, the trouble started almost immediately. Rumors swirled about tension on set, clashes between Lively and Baldoni, complaints about controlling behavior, and a reportedly difficult working environment. Lively also stumbled publicly during the film's promotional run, an unusual misstep for someone typically so polished. Hoping to replicate the viral girls' night out energy that helped turn Barbie into a cultural phenomenon the year before, she encouraged fans to wear floral outfits to screenings and turned the premiere circuit into a lighthearted event, all while promoting her own alcohol brand in the process. Ryan has one too, after all, so why not lean into it? It Ends With Us is a serious drama centered on domestic abuse. Pairing that subject matter with cocktail branding struck a lot of viewers online as tone-deaf at best. Clips of the promotional tour resurfaced across TikTok and Instagram in the weeks that followed, with users stitching together side-by-side comparisons of the film's heavy subject matter against the flower crown girls' trip marketing push.
Did I mention myself yet? The jacket's actually bowed. Well, it's my husband's, Ryan Reynolds. He's in Deadpool x Wolverine, out in AMC movie theaters now. Tickets available, and a popcorn bucket. On those florals, wash your hair with Blake Brown hair care products, and come out and see the rom-com of the summer. Gotta go.
Despite the backlash, the film still pulled in roughly $350 million at the global box office, giving Lively the commercial hit she'd been chasing. But the goodwill didn't last. Behind the scenes, tensions with Baldoni were spilling into public view, with reports that his team had brought on a crisis PR firm to get ahead of any negative coverage tied to Lively. By December 2024, Lively had filed a formal complaint, later expanded into a lawsuit in which she accused Baldoni of harassment, retaliation, and orchestrating a smear campaign against her. These were allegations laid out in her legal filings, not findings a court had made. What should have been a career-defining win was quickly overshadowed by an increasingly public and increasingly ugly legal fight. Baldoni fired back with his own $400 million countersuit, naming not just Lively, but also Ryan Reynolds and Lively's publicist Leslie Sloan, alleging extortion, breach of contract, and defamation. Baldoni's side told a very different story. According to his legal team, Lively had been difficult to work with on set, had taken over creative decisions in the costume department in a way they claimed added hundreds of thousands of dollars to the production budget, and had threatened to damage his public image if she didn't get more creative control, allegations Lively's team has disputed. Ryan Reynolds wasn't spared from the fallout either, at least according to Baldoni's version of events. Baldoni's filings allege that Reynolds arrived on the production visibly upset on one occasion, though this too was Baldoni's characterization rather than a fact established in court, and it stood in sharp contrast to the easygoing, self-deprecating persona Reynolds had cultivated for years. The couple who had spent a decade being celebrated as effortlessly likable suddenly found themselves at the center of a bitter, very public PR war, and every attempt to manage the narrative seemed to backfire. Reynolds cracking jokes about the situation during an SNL appearance was widely criticized online as badly misjudged timing. Around the same time, old interview clips of Lively being short or combative with journalists began recirculating. Users on Reddit and X dug up and reposted several of these older interview segments, framing them as evidence of a pattern rather than isolated moments. And once that narrative took hold, it proved difficult to walk back. As plenty of celebrities have learned over the years, the truth of a claim often matters less than how quickly it spreads. For a long time, Reynolds and Lively marketed themselves as an inseparable package deal. But that kind of branding cuts both ways, and when one half of the team runs into trouble, the fallout tends to land on both of them. The internet, never one to pass up a good celebrity downfall story, seized on the drama immediately. The public image of the couple shifted fast, from relatable and funny to, according to a wave of online commentary, image-obsessed and willing to use their influence to control the story. As the case dragged on through 2025 and into early 2026, Baldoni's countersuit hit a major roadblock. A judge ultimately dismissed his $400 million claim, ruling that Lively's original allegations were protected under litigation privilege, meaning statements made as part of a legal complaint generally can't themselves be treated as defamatory. That ruling didn't end the drama, but it did shift the momentum considerably. And now we're back to where we started. The case was originally scheduled for trial back in March, then pushed to May 18, 2026, after Judge Louis J. Lyman cited scheduling conflicts with unrelated criminal trials taking priority. In February, both sides met for a court-ordered settlement conference in Manhattan, their first face-to-face appearance since the lawsuit began. But talks reportedly broke down without a resolution, and both camps seemed to be gearing up for a full trial. Then, just before that May trial date arrived, Lively and Baldoni settled. According to reporting on the settlement, no money changed hands directly between the two parties as part of the deal itself. Instead, the fight shifted to a narrower, less headline-grabbing dispute: attorney fees. Lively is now seeking roughly $7.5 million in legal fees from Baldoni and his production company, Wayfarer Studios, tied to the cost of defending herself against his now dismissed countersuit. A judge sided with her on part of this, ruling that Wayfarer must cover her defense costs under a California law specifically designed to protect people who report harassment or abuse from being hit with retaliatory defamation lawsuits. However, the same judge denied Lively's separate request for triple damages and additional punitive damages, finding those remedies weren't available under the applicable federal law. As part of the broader settlement, both sides reportedly agreed to accept that fee ruling as final and not pursue an appeal. So, after more than a year of headlines, leaked messages, and dueling PR campaigns, the fight that everyone expected to end in a courtroom instead ended with a quiet financial settlement and a fee dispute resolved largely, though not entirely, in Lively's favor. It's a strangely muted ending to a saga that dominated timelines for so long. As for what comes next, that part remains genuinely uncertain. Reynolds, with his A-list standing and years of industry goodwill, was largely able to weather the controversy without major career consequences. Lively hasn't been so fortunate. Her drinks brand quietly folded amid the fallout. Some former collaborators reportedly distanced themselves during the height of the controversy, and no major new film roles have been publicly announced for her since the settlement. Whether this is a temporary rough patch or a longer-term shift in how Hollywood views her remains to be seen. And it's a question that fans across TikTok and Reddit are still actively debating, with opinions split on whether the settlement should be read as an admission of weakness or simply a practical business decision to avoid a costly, drawn-out trial. What is clear is that the film, meant to be Blake Lively's crowning achievement, instead became the center of the messiest chapter of her career, one that ended not with a verdict, but with a settlement, a fee dispute, and a whole lot of unanswered questions about what happens next. Thank you so much for watching. If this one kept you hooked, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Clout Fallout so you don't miss the next update on this story.